Alright, so this is my understanding of the universe. It's based off of both science, like physics and astronomy, all sorts of sciences, and then it's also based on all sorts of religion, whether it be polytheistic or monotheistic, and it's also based on legend and mythology. So, the universe started off, and we'll start with the first universe because there are more than one universes. So we'll start off with the first one. The first universe was created from nothing. Now that's a hard concept for humans to understand, that something can come from nothing, right? So now imagine that nothing became too much nothing. So it started spreading out because there was too much nothing in one general vicinity area. So there began to be too much nothing in one general vicinity. So it started spreading out. So as it started spreading out, nothing became less dense and could begin making more nothing. So that eventually there was too much nothing. So when there became too much nothing, nothing lost its energy to be able to expand because there was too much energy spent into making too much nothing. So when nothing lost all this energy, the only thing it could do was start to collapse back towards its original point at which it started spreading out with. So as it's traveling back towards its original point that it started expanding from, nothing mind you, it lost energy that was being spent up going back towards its original point as it was collapsing back in on itself. So as it started collapsing back in on itself, it ran out of energy to collapse back to its original point that it started expanding because it had all this extra energy. So what happened was, when it ran out of energy again, it couldn't expand back out because it had already ran out of energy twice, and that's the only amount of times that it could have. It can't just run out of energy infinitely, because of the conservation of energy and law and stuff like that. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So it started collecting. And as it started collecting, enough of nothing started collecting into these new points. And these new points eventually grew and collected enough nothing that nothing turned into something. And that something was a structure, and that structure was walls, a floor, and a ceiling. So from nothing was created a rectangular something, and that was the first universe. So the first universe was the aliens universe. So we are describing right now the aliens universe, where they originally originated from. So after nothing had created this new barriers, these new walls and ceiling and floor, more nothing started to be created, because nothing just happens, it's nothing. So more nothing keeps being made inside of these new barriers. So eventually enough nothing is created that it fills up this void that was created inside of these walls and ceiling and floor. So the nothing, now I'm calling it nothing, but nowadays we call it black matter, or not black matter, dark matter is what I meant to say. So by nothing I mean dark matter, but I'm just calling it nothing because that's what dark matter is. It's nothing practically. So even though we can define nothing, nothing is still nothing, even though it can be defined. So dark matter eventually fills up this void, and there's too much of it. So the dark matter starts bouncing off of the walls because it had filled it up. So when it bounces off the walls and the ceiling and the floor, eventually it gains enough momentum and speed and energy that it will crash into other nothing particles, which would be dark matter particles. So when the dark matter particles slam together, they're fused together. And from that reaction of the fusion and the reaction and energy added to from the momentum of the first particle slamming into the second particle, it creates dark energy. So one dark particle or dark matter particle fused together with another dark matter particle, and then the energy from both dark matter particles became dark energy. So eventually enough fused together that there was enough space, and since there was enough space, then you know what happens next? Nothing starts filling the void. So more dark matter becomes created, and then from that eventually the void fills up again, and this process just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating until eventually all the dark matter in this area gets fused together. And when all of it gets fused together, there's enough dark matter and enough dark energy to support the creation of the first ever being, which would be an alien god or an alien goddess, because we don't know which one came first, the alien god or the alien goddess. But it's really irrelevant. Anyways, so there was enough dark matter fused together to hold its mass together with the dark energy and sustain itself. So that's what happened. The first alien god or goddess was created. Now whether or not the first alien god or goddess created was the human one or the humanoid one, we don't know. It's not made clear. So anyways, that's besides the point. After the first being is created to ever exist ever, in the first universe to ever exist ever, there was all this new void again. So you know what happens when there's a void? Dark matter starts to be created out of nothing, because it is nothing. So nothing is created from nothing, and dark matter is nothing, so dark matter is created from nothing. So it just comes into existence again. But it's still inside of this new structures in this universe. So eventually it becomes full enough, and the process repeats itself until eventually, just like the first time the process went through, the second process creates the second being ever to come into existence, and that would be the second god or goddess alien to ever come into existence. So now mind you, there's all this space again, but something different happens this time. Instead of the void being filled with nothing, dark matter, the first two beings ever to come into existence end up coming together to have children. So because they're having children, they're filling the nothing and the void with more dark matter and more dark energy, so that it's taking away from the creation of nothing. So there isn't any more nothing being created to fill the void in the original way. So it's just being filled, the void, by new beings being created from the first two beings. So the first two original beings were created just by dark matter fusing together, and the reaction of the fusion causing enough energy to support and keep the dark fused matter together in the first two beings. But after that had happened, there was no need for that to happen anymore, because the dark energy that was the dark matter that was being created was being spent up as it was being created into creating these new beings. So now, mind you, there is like a homeostasis still. So because there is all this new dark matter coming into existence through these new beings being born, then there was no need for dark matter to just be created. So nothing was no longer being created from nothing. Nothing was being created from something, these new beings. So here we go with the new way of the universe. Now things were being created. Something was being created from an original nothing. So something is now being created from something. Anyways, so after a long enough period of time, these new alien angels that had come from these alien gods started mixing together, and then you got alien humans. So these alien humans were created through selective breeding to look more like the humanoid version, and then also created through selective breeding to resemble more of the human and not the humanoid one. So there became two divisions. There were the aliens that looked more human, and then the aliens that looked more humanoid. So once there was enough of them, this void was now becoming very cramped, because now there were beings all over the place. So the homeostasis was becoming overwhelmingly geared towards too much dark matter, too much dark energy in this new universe. So, to reach this homeostasis, there needed to be dark matter being used and dark energy being used in a different way that didn't create beings, because there was no room for any more beings. So the first two, gods and goddess, god or goddess, I don't know which one exactly came up with it, but one of the alien god or goddess came up with a new way to solve this problem, to create the homeostasis. So, either it was the god or goddess alien, one of them, the one that looked more human and that wasn't more humanoid looking, took dark matter, mind you, because dark matter is being created because the void had been filled up too much with beings, so new beings were not being created anymore. So because new beings were not being created, there was still the void above where the beings would stand. So there's all this space. And so even though it's cramped at bottom level, and that there can't be any more beings created because there's too much dark matter and too much energy at base level, then above them, at medium level, above where their top height would be, was all full of space. So mind you, from the top of these beings to the ceiling of the new universe was all space. So when there's space, it gets filled with nothing. So dark matter starts being created more. So to keep this reaction from getting out of hand and doing whatever it would do, these new beings, the first two beings, decided to create something from this dark matter. And the way that they did this was they took their dark energy and added it to the matter. Now, people have done this before by learning how to focus and channel their chi and energy. Now, chi is just your soul's energy. So, mind you, dark energy is just their soul's energy. Like, their soul is this dark energy. It's comprised of dark energy. And their body would be just dark matter. So anyways, so they took the dark matter that wasn't condensed into a body and wasn't fused together already, and then added their dark energy from their soul into it, and boom, was created white matter from the human, and then from the humanoid god or goddess alien was created gray matter. Now, mind you, we don't know why because it's not made clear in mythology. We don't know why one had gray matter come forth and why one had white matter come forth. But we do know that there is the difference that the humanoid had gray matter and that white matter came from the human-looking god or goddess alien. So anyways, once this god or goddess alien that was human in resemblance had created white matter, he now had all this extra white matter. So to do something with it, he went off and created another universe. Now this universe was comprised only of white matter and white energy. So he used this white matter to create the universe that resembles the original universe in the shape of a rectangle. There's a floor, a ceiling, and 4 sides. But 2 of the sides are going to be extremely longer than the other 2 short sides, because it is a rectangular. It's not a square. The universe is not square. It's not uniform. Well, anyways, so this new universe that this alien, the first one or the second one, we don't know exactly which one it was, created was the heavens. It's what we know as the heavens in the Bible. It's where we as humans originally came from. So anyways, this new universe has been created. So now all the beings that were human and not humanoid looking, that were not angels anymore, that were alien humans, because alien angels had mixed together and came up down to alien humans. So the alien humans that actually looked human and not humanoid were sent to this universe, to the heavens universe. So once that had happened, the second god or goddess, they could have been the first one, but we're just saying the second because it's the second one I'm talking about. Anyways, so they took the dark matter and added their soul's energy to it, and their dark energy to it, and what happened was the dark matter turned into gray matter and had gray energy, it turned into gray matter, which is black matter mixed with white energy. So it actually turns into gray. Now this is a hard concept to understand, because how is dark matter and white matter able to fuse together to create gray matter? It's just a hard concept to explain. But anyways, dark matter and white matter mixed together makes gray matter. And that is what the universe that we are in now is made up of, gray matter. So now originally the universe that we live in now, that our Earth is in, was created differently than these first 2 universes that were created, because they were modeled after each other, which was a square setup. The universe that we are in now was set up through a dark matter web. Now, dark matter can cause gray matter to be either pushed away or drawn towards itself. So gray matter is either pushed away from dark matter or drawn towards dark matter. And knowing this being, this alien being, the god or goddess, was able to create a web. So there was no need for a square. So this dark matter web is what holds our universe together, and that's what keeps us from just flying off into nowhere until we run out of energy and then cease to exist. Everything would cease to exist. And then it also the web keeps all matter from being condensed down until it just came to one point and then eventually would burn out of energy and cease to exist. So there is a homeostasis in it, that the web keeps matter being pushed and pulled so that it stays in a relatively station point in the universe. It's not like moving around a whole bunch, even though it is moving around back and forth. It's not like just skipping off for forever or being condensed down forever. It will only go out and then come back in, and then go back out and come back in, and it just keeps going back and forth. Well, anyways, so now that these 3 new universes has been created, the 3rd universe, the universe that we live in now, became the home to the alien humans. Now, they're called alien humans because they're down from alien angels, but that does not mean that they look human. In fact, most of them looked really humanoid. Like, you would call them like creepy, scary creatures, most of them. And they would probably make you go to the bathroom on yourself if you saw one of them. But that's besides the point. Anyways, so they came here. So the more humanoid aliens came to this universe, and then the human aliens, the ones that resemble humans and that aren't humanoid, went to the heavens. So after that was established, there had to be a homeostasis in these universes. So to keep a homeostasis, black holes and white holes were created. So the first 2 gods and goddesses created black holes and white holes to create a homeostasis between these 3 universes. So now if there's too much dark matter in this universe, right, it'll be sucked out via the black hole. Or if there's too much white matter, it'll be sucked out of this universe via the black hole. And then once the black hole sucks in matter, it breaks it down and destroys it back to its original state, which would be either dark matter or white matter, and dark energy and white energy. But the dark energy and the dark matter are as one. So if you split dark matter and white matter apart, you don't have to actually split the energy apart, because it just stays with each matter. So anyway, so once you break apart these matters, the dark matter, if there's too much dark matter in this universe, it'll go back to the original universe, which is the aliens universe, and it'll restore dark matter there. But if there becomes too much dark matter in the original aliens universe, then it'll be transported to here, to this universe. And that's how those 2 universes keep a homeostasis. So the heavens, right? If there's too much white matter being created and it's taking up too much space in the heavens, then it'll be sucked out of the heavens and transported to this universe, right? So if there's too much white matter in this universe, then it'll be sucked out and transported out via a white hole into the heavens. So that's why in mythology and some religion it talks about rain in heaven. Rain in heaven is just white matter being taken out of this universe because there was too much white matter, and being put back into the heavens to rain down to create this homeostasis and keep this homeostasis going. So when something gets sucked into a black hole, it is being recycled and then spit back out via a white hole, either as dark matter or white matter, into the respective universes. The first universe would be dark matter being spit out. The heavens, the second universe, would be white matter being spit out. And then if there's not enough dark matter or white matter in this universe, then it'll get sucked out of the heavens via a black hole, or sucked out of the first universe via a black hole, and then transmitted here into this universe out of a white hole. So it keeps this homeostasis going. Alright, so I'm about to be cut off of this video, so I'm going to stop it and then continue on with the second one.